Hey, what it do, what the business is.
It is another week in the books with the big show this week. We back in the spaceship.
Absolutely, man. It's the OndeckTV show. It's your man, Animal Brown.
I am Spike Lou. Holla at your people.
And man, Animal_Brown, if you're looking for me on social media. Who are you and where are you?
Yeah, kind of jumped the gun on that. I thought I was supposed to say that on the last one. Yep, I am Spike Lou. You would think we just started this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am Spike Lou on all the social streets, Instagram, Twitters, and even Facebook.
There it is, man. Hey, we got a very, very, very dope episode lined up for you today. I'm going to talk a couple of quick hits. You know how we get down. There's still some things that happened this week we need to touch on. But the main course today, man, we talked to Chad Oubre from the 85 South show, man, one of the business minds behind the uber popular 85 South. Gave us some good game, man. So it's a conversation y'all going to enjoy for real.
Absolutely, man. He's co-owner. 6 people own the podcast and the likes to it, and he's one of the 6 people that own it, man. Great conversation. I don't say that lightly, man. We definitely had a fun one with that. One of the best interviews we've ever done.
I
agree.
You
got to stick around and check that one out.
Hey, you put some sauce on it, man.
Sauce. You got to, man. That's what we do.
Hey, but before we get to it, let's talk about this Tyler, the Creator album that came out this past week. It was titled Call Me If You Get Lost. It's getting a lot of buzz, getting a lot of positive reviews. Did Tyler just drop the album of the year?
Quite possibly.
Ooh.
What's going to happen is Drake is going to come out this year. J. Cole has already dropped. Lil Baby, we're probably expecting. Kendrick Lamar, hopefully. What that means is there'll be a very crowded album of the year in the Grammys and wherever you're talking about. But if we're talking about being in the conversation, Tyler, the Creator, definitely done. That album is amazing, man. Just first listen off the Wham when I put it in and rolled through all the songs, headphone listen, I was like, this shit is fucking fire. I was surprised. Yeah. I'm not a big Odd Future fan. I'm not a big Tyler, the Creator fan. I know if you guys listen, I credited his verse of the year last year.
Yep.
But I'm just not that big of a fan. But this album,
yeah.
Come on,
hey,
bro.
Listen, Tyler, the Creator, has been on his way for the last 2 projects. Because I feel like that Flower Boy joint sounded like this, and then the one last year that got nominated for a Grammy sounded like this. But the production is stupid. Like, it's just stupid. And this is a lane that he can live in. He can play around in this lane right here for several years because the earlier joints don't quite sound like this. But these last 2, he been in his bag, including this one, makes it 3. Is it in the album of the year conversation? I got to say it is, dog. Like, it is.
Were you an Odd Future fan?
I was not.
Yeah, I wasn't an Odd Future
fan. I'm good on Earl Sweatshirt. I'm good on Frank Ocean early. The mixtape was tough, but I'm good. And I wasn't really on Tyler's older stuff. But these last 3, I'm here for.
Yeah, the last album, I'm not going to go as far back as 3, but I will go back to that last one. It was banging. He's been in his bag. Like you said, this reminded me vaguely of Astroworld.
Houseway.
It just took me, it was like he created, just like I said with Astroworld when we done the review, he was like, Travis Scott created this whole amusement park theme ride atmosphere with the music. This as well provides a whole atmosphere. It feels like you're going on a journey with him, and the name of the album fits perfectly for it. Yeah. Call Me If You Get Lost. Hey, I'm finna take this ride, my nigga. You hop in with me. If you get lost on the way, hit me up. Fire. I love this.
Yeah, man. Hey, I did not get lost. Shout out to Tyler, the Creator, man. I give it to him. It gets better each listen. I can't even
man,
flex.
This shit banging, bro. This shit's banging, man. I know you guys thought you weren't going to hear that here on the South's Best Podcast, but you got it, man. That new Tyler, the Creator is banging. Call Me If You Get Lost. If you haven't heard it, you're missing out. Go check that out now. Next, before we get to the meat and potatoes of the episode, again, we shorten the quick hits when we have interviews because we want you guys to get a whole lot of who we're bringing on because we think these people are special guests. But before we get to that, this guy's also a New Orleans native, just like our guest, Chad. Master P.
Let's go.
Back in the headlines again. We may be the only people covering this, but let's do it. Master P says he should be the coach of the New Orleans Hornets. Why?
Pelicans, sir. What year are we in?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I don't watch basketball. No,
clearly.
He said he should be the coach of the New Orleans Pelicans who just released their coach. He said he should coach Zion Williamson. He said he's going to bring understanding to the table, and he's going to listen to the players. My question to you, Animal Brown, is Uncle P once again doing too much?
Uncle P is doing what Uncle P does. He's taking advantage of a situation that is occurring in his background, in his backyard, with this New Orleans Pelicans thing. He's an opportunist. P has become this, right? he's always been this in a sense because he knows how to market and promote himself. He's always been able to do that. He did it with No Limit back in the day, dropping 100 albums in 1 year. He got everybody excited about the next project that was coming, even if you weren't very familiar with him. He's doing it all again now, except this time it's chips and rice and him coaching, or whether it's him trying to buy Reebok, or if it's him coaching the basketball team, which we know is never going to happen, even though it would be super dope if it did. Maybe they're ready for him to coach. They weren't ready for him to play back in the day, but maybe they're ready for him to coach. It'll never happen, and he's not qualified, even though I love P. So, no, I would want somebody, as cool as it looks, if this was my squad, I would want somebody with some experience and with a game plan, some X's and O's that can get Zion a chip, not sell seats or sell coach. You can't sell P jerseys when you coach him, bro. It's not worth it.
So you wouldn't be hype if P was the coach for the Pistons next year?
No, that's tough. That's hard. That's my Pistons. That's my dogs right there. But no, I need W's. I want wins. P could be a consultant. He could be associated with the team. But coaching, no, bro. Give me somebody with some pedigree.
This is a two-part answer to the question for me. One of them is, I don't care if he's not qualified. Really, it doesn't matter to me. It seems more random, and that's the problem. True. If Snoop came and said, hey, I want to be a coach in the NFL, he has the Snoop Dogg Football League, he can say these people came through my league and I put them in the pros, I would get it.
That's fair.
So with Master P, is just out of the box. Just, I played in the NBA, I feel like I can coach. Bro, that's not the answer. I don't want to see you do that. But I'm not against like people that are the underqualification I don't agree with is what I would say.
No, I need that.
The other part of it is I would say is I would love to see what it looks like if Master P would focus on one thing. If he wanted to be a great basketball coach and went down the lane of being an assistant coaching in HBCU, fine. If he wanted to make the best rice or the best products and he got scientists in the lab and was like, this is the best rice because these are the best chips because. If he wanted to change the shoe industry and make Miati's the best shoe ever, I have full faith that Master P could do that because he raised me. I saw what he did with music. I saw how he moved his product. My problem is he's trying to do all of them.
At the same time.
At the same time. Just pick one, bro, I promise. And I'm not saying that to all the entrepreneurs out there need to stick to their lane and do that. I don't believe that. But someone who has what Master P has, the access that he has, I don't think that you got to spread it as thin. You're not looking for your shot here.
Yeah.
Like, you done it. You made it, bro. Pick one thing and help us out with that, bro. Like, if you're going to make the rice healthier and, like I said, got everything to do so, then I love it. If you're going to be the best basketball coach and you went and got the best training for it, I love it. But don't do everything, bro. Not all of it.
He can't coach my Pistons, dog.
Now you off of it.
Not Cade Cunningham.
You thought about it. It's over.
He ain't coaching Cade.
I was finna say they brought him in this year, first pick, Cade Cunningham.
I remember the way they said we were going to work out J. Cole. Don't do that. Don't do that. Nah, bro. I don't want the clicks for the headlines, bro. I want real players, real coaches.
So you prefer sports over hip hop, is what you're telling me.
Nah, I prefer them not to mix.
Sometimes they mix. They definitely mix.
I'm good. Hey guys, coming up after the break, Chad Oubre from the 85 South Show. Plenty of gems. We get to know his story. We get to know how the business mind works when it comes to this podcast / content game goes. Get your pen and your paper out, man. Take notes, man. Don't go nowhere. Hey, man, we are back. It's the OndeckTV show. It's your man, Animal Brown.
I am Spike Lou.
Hey, I told you we had a special guest in the building. We done took it 85 South. We hollering at our guy, Chad Oubre. Man, what's popping, sir?
Man, what's going on?
We're glad to have you here, man.
Man, I'm glad to be here. Glad to see it. Super professional.
Appreciate it.
No
nice
doubt.
operation.
We tried.
We appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
Listen, today on the conversation, man, this is a hip-hop podcast.
Yep.
Every once in a while, we like to go a little bit left and talk business, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Our listeners are into that, man. They're here for the entrepreneurial talk.
Cool.
That's what we try to bring them, man. Every blue moon, switch it up in between the entertainment stuff, man.
Yeah,
You know what
for
I'm
sure,
saying?
for sure.
Put the medicine with the candy in sometime. And we know the majority of this convo, we want to talk on the business, but for those who don't know, we do want to get a little bit of a background, a little bit of an origin story
Yeah, for sure.
with you and 85 South and the content creation game, period, right?
Yeah.
Did it start with videography? Did I read that right?
Who, for me?
Yeah.
Like me personally?
Yeah.
Nah, it actually started, in college I was throwing parties.
Word.
Yeah,
Promotions.
Yeah,
Nice,
promotions.
yeah.
Yeah. But that was when they still had street teams.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So you would partner with the radio, partner with the Kappas or whatever the case is, or football team, whoever. Throw a couple parties, make a little bread, call it a day.
What college?
I went to Jacksonville University.
Nice.
In Florida, yeah. I started playing ball. I was all right. Had a bunch of injuries on top of that, so there's got to be another way.
Yeah.
And then that transition to my partner was working for Tyler Perry here in Atlanta, Joe, who directs our show.
Word.
So I found my way back here. I worked at this advertising agency that's still doing this thing out here, and started off carrying coffee, doing whatever. But there was a space. Our intern, the videography part, our intern had left to go back to school, and there was a space to figure out photography, videography, design, and I just went to YouTube University and started to learn.
There you go.
The reason we ask, because a lot of people that listen to us do a lot of different creative shit, and you know that the path that you start on is not necessarily the one that you finish on. Like we started with videography.
Yeah, man.
Walking around filming people that came to Nashville.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I'm saying?
the way though.
That's how we started.
That's the way. Yeah.
So big ups to where you got on there. How did the Steve Harvey experience? How did that help you to where you are right now at 85 South?
Man, it just taught me how big the world could be.
Yeah.
You just don't you don't know what you don't know, bro.
Yeah.
And I think experience is probably the best teacher on the planet.
Facts.
So he just let us in rooms. I mean, and we worked our way too. We carried our weight, but he let us in rooms, let us on conversations, had us on emails. We produced things, saw budgets, that we didn't even know that you could ask for, even get paid for. So that was number one, and then it taught me the value of intentionality because. His operation, as big as his extended operation is, his core operation might be a 5 to 10 person operation.
Gotcha.
Like the people that are actually close to him,
Yeah.
that are actually handling his business, his logistics, lodging, content,
Yep.
all those day-to-day Steve Harvey things. It's a very, very small, tight-knit team.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you, and before we get to the larger stuff of what to talk about, we had a buddy that worked for Steve Harvey too.
Okay.
His name was
No names. We won't blaze them just in case it's info. 'Cause
Okay.
He about to bring up what Steve
I was
pulled
showing
him
him
to
to
the
him his
side.
name, but
Yeah.
Steve pulled him to
He
the
could have been
side.
there before me or after me.
You
though.
might
Okay,
know
cool.
him, you might not. We'll talk off air about
Okay.
it. But he pulled him to the side, and my man had dreads, and Steve told him, he was like, bro, if you want to be anything in this band, you got to cut that off, my man.
Yeah.
And he was willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my question to you,
Yeah.
seeing those checks, seeing those rooms,
Yeah.
were the sacrifices you were asked to make to do that, and were you open to making them?
What, as far as like how we dress?
I just
Dress, carrying yourself, or even advice that you weren't as open to as a youngster that you look back on now and be like, damn, he was some real shit.
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Now I don't know if appearance would have been necessary to sacrifice. And also understand he's
old school.
I mean, I
old
ain't
school.
mad at him
Well,
for saying
the
it.
time's a little bit different. So
Because this was a couple years ago.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
this
his
was
heart
a
and his
while
intent
ago.
was right.
Yeah.
When he was giving that advice,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I don't think anything good comes without sacrifice. I think I had to learn my transition to sacrifice was the sacrifice is the day-to-day discipline because it doesn't really happen overnight, even though 5 years can look like overnight, 7 years, 10 years. So my sacrifice was really understanding the discipline and getting rid of distractions. So the answer is yes. If somebody said you have to make these sacrifices and this person stood for success,
Be open to it.
absolutely. I just don't know that appearance is necessarily the sacrifice
Sure.
per se, but yeah.
And to put it into context, his thought process was, man, look, bro, the higher up this ladder, it's a bunch of people that don't look like us. They don't get the culture.
Yeah.
To them, that's intimidating. It's scary.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we know it's some bullshit.
Yeah.
So if you want to at least get your foot in the door,
Yeah.
then you can do that shit after the fact.
Yeah,
That
that's
was the
a whole
context,
lot
though.
of cap, though. That's
No,
cap,
that's the
though.
cap, but that's
I
what
think
he
we
said. I
know
was telling
Steve
you.
Harvey well enough to know that he just didn't like that shit either.
I don't know
It
that
ain't-
nigga, bro.
I don't think Steve Harvey.
I don't know, bro.
We do this, so we'll
Yeah,
get.
no, you good.
We've
I got no
seen
comment.
this.
That's my OG, so I got no
We've
comment.
seen enough of Steve Harvey to know that like it wasn't just you may not get in this door. It's also I run the ship here, my nigga. I don't really like that shit either. Cut that shit off.
Yeah, and look to
Ain't
his,
nothing wrong
but
with
look
that.
to his credit, if he's signing the checks, he's allowed
Yeah,
to,
ain't nothing wrong
as
with
long
that.
as
It's
it's
my
not,
business.
manipulating you, making you feel less than whatever the
Exactly.
case is. He's
Facts.
allowed to run his ship the
Yeah,
way he
I
wants to
don't-
run his
I-
ship.
1,000%.
And then to what you said, my challenge to that though,
Okay.
as someone that's passed through that
No doubt.
situation, my challenge to that is, I believe that comes from a space of asking, and if you're the person that's providing, it doesn't really matter. You understand?
fair.
Or the person that's in control. Appearance doesn't matter if I'm the one that's in control of this operation.
That's true.
That's why, and that leads me
You
to
know
my
what I'm
point.
saying?
That's why I
So-
think that he was the one that was more. It ain't about you're going to go up the ladder. You may work somewhere where they don't like
Right.
you. It was about, this is the Steve Harvey Incorporated. I don't like that shit. I'll frame it so you won't be mad at me as to you might want to move up, but my nigga, cut that shit off your head, bro.
That's fair.
And you allowed to. I mean, we got
you can do
uncles
that
and aunts.
Yeah, so, hey,
In my house, you ain't gonna do X, Y.
Cool. That's the equivalent of that.
Facts.
So fast forward just a little bit. You linked up with Carlos. Y'all was slinging cell phones when I got the hookup style.
Yeah, bro. 2005 was my senior year, and I wanted a job for the summer, chasing behind my ex-girlfriend, or girlfriend at the time, I should say.
Yeah.
And we had a job in the middle of the mall selling cell phones. I met Los at the actual training for that, and then that training put us both in the same. It was actually me, Los, and Clayton.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so it's us three, and them being as funny as they are to this day at that time doing what they do. But just like that's them.
Yeah,
they've been the same.
I can imagine him bodying them customers like he be doing.
Dude, so I was in Kennesaw, Georgia. So if you ever been there,
absolutely,
it's not Atlanta, Georgia.
It ain't that.
Right, and that's 10 years ago.
Yeah,
definitely when the
And they made everybody they stopped. They made extremely comfortable, getting jokes off and approachable. They just amazing.
That's fire.
They're just people.
Was Los doing stand up at the time still?
No, Los. I actually remember the specific time he called me because I was at school playing ball. He would check up on me. To be honest with you, I'm young, trying to run around and figure life out. Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna do stand up." And in my mind, I'm like, "Bro, you already do stand up." You know, like, no. Like I'm really gonna work these open mics and work these clubs. Like, bro, I promise. 2-3 years later, he was on what's that BET show he was doing already?
Comic View.
Not Comic View. Well, he did do Comic View, but it was Hell Date.
Oh yeah.
That was your shit too, with the little midget.
Yeah, and they had like a Yo Mama, I think, or something.
Yeah.
He was hitting all them shows, man. But
that's funny.
It's not hard to see Los is like, bro, this dude is special.
Yeah.
It don't take.
He definitely jumps off the screen.
Yeah. So it was that simple. He just said, I'm gonna go do it, and Los's work ethic is probably ain't too many people that's gonna outwork him. Yeah. So Los is the dude that's Monday through Monday. I'm in the open mic nights, auditions, working on some material, whatever the case is. That's just who he is.
And it just made me think too. You said I know that's when you were able to turn it up. You kind of got rid of the distractions and was focused on a day-to-day basis, not just when time called for it.
Yeah.
What are you kind of distractions? Are you cutting out the video games? I'm cutting out the sports.
Well, so I everybody knows I'm an extremist. Mm-hmm. So like I don't really know balance, you know.
It's one way or the other.
Yeah, so like
I ain't doing it, I'm doing it.
That's it. So like I mean, bro, like if we go into the strip club, bro, I'm coming home broke. You know what I'm saying? Like that's me. And if we drinking, I'm the drunkest person in the room. So the other side of that is, hey, bro, we're gonna start this business. Yeah. And I'm cutting out alcohol. I'm cutting out even at one time women. You know, I'm locked in. I got a lot of stuff to figure out. And then my thought process was I'd actually gotten fired from a job. And it was like, yo, I got nothing else. So I don't have any reason to want to go out. I don't have any reason to want to chase anything. Yeah. Let's lock in right here. I'm at ground zero.
That's a great thing you bring up. And I had it wrote down on my sheet here. So you talked us right into it. You said you got fired from your job.
Yeah.
Was there a moment, even in being fired from your job, did something happen? Did it click in your head as to where, oh, I'm doing this? Like this I'm flying with it. This fight or flight for this.
You know.
I'm not looking for another corporate America job. I'm doing this.
Yeah, that's So there's a lot of answers in this question. It's a good question.
Give it to us.
The answer to that is yes, because the job that I worked at, I personally thought my young ambitious mind was that I'm gonna work so hard at this job. I'm gonna be this is the agency I was telling you about. These two partners who created this job are gonna let me be a minority partner in this job. That was my ambition. Yeah. Right, yeah. Gotcha. So you get fired from there and it's like a shock. You go through your emotions, whatever the case is. And then at that moment, it was actually my mom was like, yo, you've always been an entrepreneur, just tap into it. And then just kind of explaining like the history of her family, my father's family. I'm like, oh man, it's kind of like, it's what we do. I've always been doing it. I just didn't necessarily put the details around it, but I've always been hustling. Like even when I was always somebody that wanted some money in my pocket. Yep. But every job I would get, like I remember working at Blockbuster, bro. But I would work at Blockbuster so I could hand some free movies and get some free pizza.
There you go.
So I was always bartering and exchanging.
Yeah,
I would work at Hat Shack so I could pass out flyers and go to the party. For the DJs, they'd only charge me $50 versus charging them $500.
Right,
you know?
Right.
So it's always been in me. But that last job I got fired from, I told myself when I do get another job, if I do, that this person will be my first client. And that's how I thought about that process. So it ended up being Steve. And in my mind, I worked as if Steve Harvey was my first client until I go full speed out into it. So the answer to that is yes.
That's fire.
That's a long-winded version.
No, that's what podcasting for.
Yeah. Absolutely. How does this turn into what you do currently for 85 South? When did that take that leap?
So another thing, man, working for Steve, it was like, all right, Steve, let us create this digital department or arm, new business for you. Okay. We'll take the lead on it. We'll even partner with you on it. Now, mind you, this is Steve Harvey and this is us.
Yeah, sure.
And we don't know. Again, young and ambitious, not really knowing.
I bet y'all didn't have dreads. I bet y'all didn't.
No, we didn't. No,
I knew it.
We definitely did. So we was like, yeah, man, I got this partner, Carlos Miller. I got this partner because we was just getting cool with Fly. Chico, I think we got cool with E-Man. And we had relations with these, like real relations with these guys. These aren't guys I got to go through a booking email or whatever the case is. And we pitched him 85. We pitched the tour.
Word.
We pitched the actual radio show for Carlos. It was called the Carlos Miller Show. Like I had to air check it somewhere out there in the internet. And this is 7 figures Steve Harvey. Like these ideas from these young guys, and it's just the nature of life.
What's the pitch to get the pitch? How do you get him even open to listen?
Oh
to the
yeah,
pitch?
So at one point I worked for Steve's business partner.
Okay, there.
Rashawn McDonald, his manager.
Gotcha.
Okay. They're not business partners anymore, but I was his manager's assistant, and then Joe worked at Steve as well.
Got it.
So Joe ran like all of the video content, et cetera, Elements, creative, whatever. And then there was a time where they were trying to figure out social media because all the talk shows, television shows would ask Steve about his social. He didn't really have somebody that was
savvy.
Savvy enough is the word I use to. That's a good word to really run it. So Joe was just chilling on the computer one day and he was like, "Hey man, Joe, you know about YouTube, right?" And Joe was like, "Yeah, I know it."
Yeah.
Walked in there and the stuff me and him have been saying Steve should do for 2 years. Joe just started pitching him. And then Steve was like, "Yo, can y'all come to my crib tomorrow?" And that's how it started.
Nice.
But we had been thinking about all the things that he should be doing from Twitter, Facebook,
putting the leg work in.
Yeah,
so
we
if
had
you
been
do
doing
ever ask me, I got it.
We was because we weren't guessing. We knew what to do. And then mind you, in the meantime, him and I on our off time were shooting for other people. So, man, everything from 100 Black Men of Atlanta to AT&T, whatever corporations around here in the city, man, we was picking up as many jobs as we could. If somebody had a birthday party, we shoot it.
Yeah.
Same thing y'all was talking about with the camera. Like, so that little 2 year, because I was there, I think I worked for Steve some roughly 4 years. A year and a half, he didn't even know my name, bro. I was just keeping my head down, doing what I had to do.
You stay ready.
Yeah,
stay ready,
so
you ain't got to get ready.
So when the time came, it wasn't hard. I didn't have to do no pitch deck and show you this. Like, you should do this, and this is how it works. All right, cool, let's do it.
That's what happens when you consume to what you do. When you consume to what you do, you work on that shit every day.
Every day, bro.
And when that opportunity, some people call luck, present itself, I'm off.
Yeah, no, we was locked in, man. And so I would even tell, there's younger people that work for us now that I tell them, like, there's young people that work for us now, I tell them all the time, like, man, you don't have to be the best at this, you just got to be a nerd for this stuff, dog. You know? And for us, we was like, every day was something new to learn. The internet moves so fast, dog. Yeah. So, like, even the stuff I knew running Steve's social media some 6 years ago, somebody would run circles around me right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to tweet a Insta. I don't know the algorithm. I don't know none of that stuff. No. There's people that do that for. I don't have a clue, bro. And I'm older too. I don't have a desire for it like I used to. I don't have the same energy for it like I used to. But yeah, man, we was consumed with it, bro. Like,
but that's how you do it. You lock in. You pick a specialty. You become a specialist at one thing. That nobody else really knows. You be the go-to person for that. You make yourself invaluable.
Yeah, and you really don't have to be the best, dog. Like
that too.
It's really. It's not hard to sit across the table from somebody and know, you know, if this is a facade or not. It doesn't take much.
Till they faking it,
Yeah.
And some industries, like you said, being the best ain't even required. I just need you to be consistent.
Bro.
I need to know you're going to be here. I need to be able to depend on you.
Yeah.
And if I ask you something, you got to be open to criticism. Be like, okay, I can fix it. That's it.
People put a lot of value on business and like this savviness. And to me, the savvy is, can you communicate?
Yes.
Communicating means that the message that's in me has been downloaded into you and you can reciprocate that back to me. That's communication.
Facts.
Can you do what you say you're gonna do, and you show up on time and do it consistently, not for a week, not for a month.
You live this shit. It consumes you. But the reason you hold people to that standard because when you had your opportunity and you did it, you did the same thing.
And all the people that I deem successful in my eyes have that same trajectory. Yeah. And success don't have to be $1 billion, $1 trillion.
Yeah.
You know, so
who do you look up to? Who do you model? Well, before we get to that, because I do want to get into who you kind of blueprint, your stuff after.
Yeah.
But 85 South, what's your role with 85 South for those that don't know?
So I guess when we talking to the big wigs, like managing partner. So we co-founded this together. It's 6 of us that co-created this, and my job is more, we'll call it operations.
Okay.
Kind of seeing into the future.
Word.
Making sure that I got to be like 6 months to a year ahead of everything. Because you don't want stuff to catch up and it's like, now what?
Yeah.
That's what we need.
You behind the 8 ball at that point.
Yeah. So we have, people that manage day to day for us. But and then we have different lines of business as well. So there's the actual production company that does the business that it does. There's a touring company that's about to get back on the road that has a separate line of business. There's a merchandise and apparel company that we finally getting rolling the way I like it. We're going to launch probably 2 or 3 more.
It, right?
85 Apparel?
Yeah. Well, we launched it properly, I should say that. Yeah. So it's been rolling, but now we fine-tuned it is what I should say. And then there's 2 or 3 other things that we're going to have coming, lines of business. So, yeah, taking the lead on that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know it's time to, like, I know you said you already had 85 Apparel, but it was probably more just kind of show merch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly what it was.
How do you know when it's time to, like, we need to level up and like make it like a real deal line?
Experience, meeting some other people, man. We took a bunch of trips to LA to really learn how to do this the right way. Cause there is merch.
Yeah.
Then there's like a line.
Yeah.
And we want to be somewhere in between. I don't necessarily want to be on anybody's runway.
Okay.
But I also want people to have options when they shop with us outside of a t-shirt. And quality t-shirt. I'm gonna spend $40 on a hoodie. It's not something that it's gonna wash well. It's gonna I can keep putting it on,
Not throwaway.
Yeah, those things matter. So it really comes down to, man, if you want to get into like the nerd, like the nerd of it, you just kind of, you're able, once you get to a point where you can project based on some numbers, based on real data and information. We can take e-commerce information off of Shopify. We can take digital information off of our newsletters and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and you can start to shape sort of a 3-month, 6-month, year-long game plan. Okay, if we put X amount of dollars into this product, we can base this off of 1%, 5%, 10% transaction conversion rate. You can make some real guesses. Okay, it's worth our time, energy, and effort to do this stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's the nerd version of it.
Nah, but that's what people need to hear, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people here for. That's what they tune in. So we'll weave in and out of the 85 South show, and of course, we're in the same business. We're in podcasting business like you. So we want to pick your brain as well as the OndeckTV podcast or a similar smaller podcast listening to us that may approach you with some questions that you may get and kind of give them some game. So let's say said podcast approaches you, us, 400 episodes in the game, haven't quite broken through to a level like the 85 South show.
Right.
And we come to you just like you went to Steve Harvey with a pitch. What would be the first question based off the information you already have that you would have for us?
You saying that somebody else wanted to pitch to me?
Well, if we were pitching you.
Yeah.
And then you seen the information, you got as much as you know about us right now, what would be your first question for us?
For y'all, I'd want to know where do y'all see yourselves?
Okay. Long term?
Long term.
It could be short, it could be long. Because when I think of partnerships have to work for both people.
Right.
Facts.
And then I like to approach partnerships like, how can I help you? So it doesn't really matter what I think you should or could be doing if that's not even aligned with where y'all want to go.
Nice.
Well, okay.
So you do short term, I do long term. See what you think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Nigga, how you know I ain't want the long term?
Because I knew which one I wanted. So. I spoke first, my nigga. You snooze, you lose, my nigga.
Short term would be, okay, yeah, let's do that. Short term would be to build out the content on a more, I don't say day to day, but on a more, I say bi-weekly basis to where it's a network right, of podcasts of people that look like us.
Right.
We fill in gaps that we feel like are in the
For sure.
in the game right now. So if you take a Bill Simmons network,
Yep.
The Ringer,
Yep.
we say it's a black version of that, a cultured version of that,
Yeah.
pop culture, all the
Yeah.
sports, fashion, the whole nine. Short term, that's what it would look like, a network, a house
Yeah.
for that type of content for people that look like us. Because shout out to everybody else that does this shit, but it gets a little bit of it's annoying. I'm gonna keep it a stack. It's annoying when you see a Complex show or when you see another company show, and the people that are doing it don't look like us. It bothers me just a little bit. I'm gonna keep it a stack.
Some of it they just don't know
Especially
what
when
they're
they don't know what they're talking about, because most don't. Some do, most don't.
So I'll say this. First thing, you're already on the right path. The second thing I'll say is if you see, that's our business model. So it's taking us a little bit longer because what I will tell you is you need one thing that gets to the other side.
Yep.
And you got to define what the other side is. That could be X amount of numbers, views, the ability to bring in guests, whatever it is. That's not for me to figure out.
Right.
Let's say the other side is 50,000 views.
Sure.
Right? Once you get to the other side, you can introduce new things to that audience.
But the first thing is to
You
do
got to
that
take
other side.
Now it took us 5. I'll say 5 years to get to the other side.
Okay.
Once I realized we could transact on ticket sales, to me, which is the highest transaction, then it became real for us on what this can be.
Because you knew if you had at least 50,000, I could take this show on the road and I can make
Right.
money.
And the percentage of that will show up.
Yeah.
I could take that independent money and do what I want to for my next venture or what I need to do. To
because
make this
streaming can still be manufactured to a degree.
Yeah, I can
If
fake
you,
it.
Yeah, if you understand algorithms and understand Facebook spins, ad spins, whatever the case is, you two things you can't manufacture. My personal belief is you can't manufacture ticket sales,
right.
and you can't manufacture newsletter data.
Gotcha.
Because even people bundle merchandise with different things or whatever. So
Right.
Yeah,
that's why merch is kind of like some people make no money, some people make a bunch of money. It just depends on your model. But me personally, I think your newsletter, because that's where people purposely and intentionally engage in your content. And then if my 2-week check, I'm taking X amount of dollars out of that to purchase a live ticket. That's a real transaction.
Absolutely. That's a real person sitting in that seat right there.
And that's a real
You can't fake 50,000 people sitting in the seat.
Oh, whoever, man,
10,000.
Yeah.
Perfect. So taking off of that and going long term, with the network, like you said, most people that we've come across with podcasts have that vision in mind of network. So we also have the same thing. We have a sports show, the Full Sport Press podcast. Shout them out. We have a fashion show, fresher than your average, and of course this show, hip hop. So sports, fashion, and hip hop. Ultimately, where we see this and what we started for when we was chasing niggas around with a camera, just like ESPN does sports 24 hours a day.
I see that.
We want to see a station on TV that covers hip hop the same way. Concerts would be like the Super Bowl, like Drake's first concert back out of the pandemic would be covered just like the Super Bowl would be covered on ESPN. You talk about it all day. You got people that getting fan reactions. You got a sports version of a PTI. You got a sports version, a hip hop version. All of these things are centered around our culture 24 hours a day, just like ESPN, where you're getting live events, you're getting
the flagship show.
Sports Center would be a night of everything that happened in hip hop, different concerts. So that's the long term goal. We know that that's going to take a lot more than us, a lot more creatives, a lot more people than alike. Well, I got a network too. I don't cover fashion. I don't cover sports. I don't cover this. Let's link up with you guys, and now we're expanding this. What do you think about that goal and
No,
that to the next level?
I think that's realistic. Number one, but I also want you to understand how big that goal is because you're still up against Turner.
Right.
You're still up against Fox Sports.
Yeah.
You're still up against ESPN. That's why I'm telling you, the 5,000 eyeballs are real eyeballs. You just have to build on those. And again, first thing I said was you got to get to the other side.
Yep.
You can get to the other side with guests
that
can help drive viewership. You can get to the other side because these days, the old school way of getting access to people was, I say old school, it's 10 years ago, was like the blog space, right? The blog era has now become the podcast area.
Exactly.
So if you want to go to a Drake concert, hey, I'm media with XYZ, I'd like to get some coverage. That media now filters back into you. If you grab the right media, there's more eyeballs.
Yeah.
That's how people get to the other side.
Word.
But you have to do that consistently. So now that I've drawn this one video, which usually does 20,000, now I just did 250,000. You got to have enough. I like to say catalog for people to stay. Well, it's all right, let me check this out.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a big thing. 'Cause it's the same in music, bro.
Yeah.
If you hear somebody, so I put you on somebody tomorrow, nigga, it's on hard as hell.
Yeah.
Let me go
You're
back
going to
and
look
check
and
out
see
this
what else
mixtape.
they got.
Right.
And if they ain't got nothing else, it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
You kind of forget about it.
No,
Yeah.
you do forget about that.
But I want to say this too, man. I think you're what you're talking about is a real journey.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen overnight.
No.
Because you still gotta recondition people to not say this is validation. The channels the networks you talked about, which is cool to watch it over there. But what you're essentially saying is, BET used to cover college football classics.
Right. The Heritage Classic.
Because it was important for us to see us talking to us in a certain type of way or capturing us in a certain type of way. Those things, man. 90s sitcoms, that's really where all that creativity for kids like us came from.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
For being able to see so many versions
People
of
like-
us.
yep.
There were single fathers, there was married fathers, there was fathers that didn't work, and there's
Coaches, teachers, all of that
fathers
stuff
that
was
worked
on
in
TV.
the there were doctors, all those sort of things. These things, blended families, we saw all those many versions of us, and it was black producers, black directors. All that stuff matters. So we're on the same journey. It's about being able to get into more detail about how you get there. I think that big picture is a really good big picture. You should have that big
It's a
picture.
huge picture, though.
Right? And then for y'all, I would say, hey man, if on the small, I shouldn't say small, the short term side,
Yeah.
what is the other side for us?
Got you.
Because
For real.
we're working with
Right there.
we're working with a podcast we just signed,
Okay.
and we were very clear. We need to get to this number
At this time.
by this time.
Yeah.
Then I'm comfortable selling tickets.
Got you.
Then I'm comfortable going to advertisers and asking for this much money. Then I'm comfortable for doing merch. So we made it a very clear vision. How do we get to these numbers? You can do it with guests. Some people say some crazy stuff just to get a viral bit. That's not really our thing.
Yeah.
But it happens. You know, how do we do that? And obviously we're going to leverage what we have on our side.
Sure.
They get to come on our show, et cetera, et cetera. But those are real tangible things that you can do. Okay, cool. We got to a certain level. Now we can.
What was the approach that you decided on to get to the other side for that podcast? If you
It
decided
was
as a
viewership.
guest- Okay,
Gotcha.
Viewership. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But is there a way that you decided that you're going to get to that other side with them yet? Is it
Yeah,
guest or is-
we stepped up the production, number one, because there's another level of, and that's why I love what y'all are doing. You know, people just crack a mic and just think it's,
Yeah.
and like,
Talking
bro,
till we
if
tired.
it sound like you underwater, I ain't listening.
That too.
All that matters. And we
Yeah.
had to learn that. So
Yeah.
we had to learn the value of actually producing properly because we were spoiled being in Steve's studio the first 30 episodes. And this is a multi-million-dollar studio. You just press two buttons and everything sounds like it's ready to go to 95 million stations.
Yeah.
So then we had to learn Sennheiser mics. We had to learn Sony mics. We had to learn Canons and versus Night. You know, all those sort of things, Panasonics that you're shooting with. So your production value's got to be there. Y'all already got that. So there's step one. Step two is now, I think, is viewership. So
Yeah.
your question was, for them, it was stepping up their production and stepping up their viewership.
Right, got it.
But once we got it there, now I'm like, okay, now I can do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, man, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for us, what would you think? Trying to get some free game. I was
Yeah,
just
no,
trying
you
to get
good.
some
You
free
good.
game.
For y'all, bro, I would work on guests.
That's real.
Because you're going to have guests that people are here. They may not necessarily be here to see y'all, which is okay.
Right.
But it's I think I saw y'all had Dame Dash on.
Yeah.
People like me are looking for that.
For sure. No
you know,
doubt.
You know what's funny? We have business meetings with our partners like twice a month. And he was pitching guests, but nobody was really receptive to it. So he's really gonna edit this part out and say, I told y'all it was guests out because us getting guests on all of our shows is gonna take some format adjustments and what we normally do. And you know how people are to change.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
But we know in order to get to that other side, like you said, guests are gonna have to play a part in that.
That's
So
one
that was a
way.
good point.
So when I'm saying other side, I'm saying viewership, bro. That's really it.
Facts.
So for y'all, I think it's guests simply because, again, we're spoiled in that people already wanted to see Fly Los and Chico. So our mentality was a little bit different. We didn't necessarily we need to learn how to do this properly. Y'all clearly know how to do this. I think it's about y'all being able to grab those guests. And it don't have to be Lil
Dame
Baby.
Dash, yeah.
Right.
I think it can be a Dame Dash or it can be a
There's several people in the
a
lane.
Gip or whoever. Like, there's people looking for these. You don't need 1 million views, bro. You just need 2 or 3 times more than what you already have.
Yeah.
Like,
consistently.
Atlanta, like, is a gold mine for those type of people
Man,
that you're
David
talking
Banner.
about, right?
You.
Yeah,
I
man.
don't know about me. But there's
Nah, it's
people
people
looking
that's
for
gonna
that
be
certain
looking for
thing.
you,
Yeah,
like you said,
because
100%.
unfortunately you're also in a space of, and this is the reality of it, that it doesn't matter how good this show is. I'm not gonna say the other side. There's a middle ground.
Yeah.
Of we'll call it validation, because some people aren't going to watch until more people are watching.
And you're right. There are people in this space. The benefit that they have is they can just crack a mic, not taken away from their talent, like Nori, Joe Budden.
Yeah.
Like they can just say, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast," and you're going to get 10, 15,000.
Well, let's be
people
real.
because
Like
they have
his Rolodex is why.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
And it's not to discredit it. I'm saying that was his other side.
Yeah,
My
still
Rolodex,
talent, and it's still a lane for what he does. But I also was Noriega before I started doing it. So I also was Joe Budden.
There's a reason he can get Wayne and nobody else,
Exactly.
or Cameron, and you know.
Exactly.
I have opinions about all that. But
Yeah.
we're gonna keep it moving. I ain't
Yeah,
tripping.
we'll talk about it. Mike.
But it's just leveraging. That's all, bro.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm sure y'all have more access than y'all may realize y'all have. And then think about this too, man. Some of these artists don't want to talk about shootouts.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about baby mamas. They do want to talk about how business savvy they are,
There you
or
go.
how much real estate they own, or
Yeah.
how much they fed the kids, bro. You
Yeah,
know,
it's real.
there's that
Real
angle
talk,
too. Because
right.
what I have learned on our show, it's finally starting to kick in with people. We're not gonna do that to you. We just had Lamar Odom. We're not gonna bring that silly stuff.
Right.
in.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about
Trying to get
Kobe.
clicks and
We're gonna
shit.
talk about
Exactly.
rings.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about when you was playing at the Rucker.
Yeah.
He gonna big you up.
Yeah.
That's what you're here for. That's what.
We
This,
don't.
That's what
We just had Mark Curry on. Like, we don't
Word.
want to make you feel. That's not. We give roses, bro.
Yeah,
Mark Curry
exactly.
from the Bad Boy.
No Mark
Or
Curry
the
from
actor.
Hanging
the
with Mr.
actor.
Cooper.
Hanging with
Mr.
Mr. Cooper.
Cooper,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, but the list goes on. We had Fiend from No Limit, bro.
Man,
like,
come on, man.
Yep. He was
But-
on our show one time.
Yeah.
Way
there you go.
back in the
So
day.
but in the same sense, we'll go get Country Wayne or get Tip or get
Yeah.
Chains, but it's not gonna be that, because I've seen back to Steve when he's got to get. There's a version of Steve that has to do Ellen,
Got you.
because you just always got to be. You don't know what she gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come on our show, man, relax, bro. We ain't even going.
That's the same feel that we have.
So that's the angle that I'm saying that y'all can have,
good
to
point.
where I'd rather do this show because I know it doesn't come with the gimmicks.
Got you.
Facts.
You know what I'm
That's real.
saying?
What who did you model your kind of career after? You look at anybody as a business kind of idol or anything of that nature, like that's a blueprint?
Yeah, I mean, to be real with you, dog, like my grandfather, my father,
Word.
you know. But if we're talking about people that have a bigger name, like Dame Dash, Master P,
Okay.
Currency, Nip,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I should say Black Sam, you know.
Yeah.
People take that for granted, the first answer that you said, because we talked off me and him been knowing each other for 20, 25 years.
Yeah,
And just a person, like, he just met his father, and I ain't grow up with my dad.
right.
You don't really get a full impact of that, at least for me, at 38 years old. I can't call. I have conversations with him,
Right.
but it ain't as comfortable with my dad to be like
Yeah.
you said. He taught me business. I know I can hit him with some business stuff and get some good information back.
Yeah.
So it's a real blessing to have
I know the
those
goal in
people
that
when
too,
you
bro.
ain't looking at a Dame Dash. and a
I've
Master P.
never been people. I never understood people that wanted to make it seem like they didn't have. I understood the value in that.
Yeah.
And if we kind of understand,
Especially when you get older.
yeah, oh yeah. You know, and it's not like my grandfather or my father was like, this is business 101.
Sure,
This is how you
right.
go get credit or whatever. Just being able to see a man stand up for himself independently
Yeah.
and provide.
Yeah. Like,
That's all I needed. I just needed to see that. This is what, because my father had a 9-to-5 job for 30 years.
Sure.
But he started I've seen him dabble in real estate. I've seen him dabble in internet companies when they was first getting off the ground. I've seen him dabble in, man, he had a trash cleanup company at one
Yeah.
time. Like, if it was another way to make a check, he gonna make it. And seeing that, and then going with him too. I was going on to pick up the check for the real estate or going to the office space at 9 p.m. after he just got off the job.
Yeah.
So I've seen that. That was ingrained in me. My grandfather was a sharecropper,
Okay.
but he ended up buying the land that he was sharecropping on.
Word.
You know, so being able to see that, bro, like,
that's important.
priceless,
That's
bro.
important.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 'cause
So
some guys, like you said, don't see that. I had the benefit. My mom worked hard, and you know that stuff comes from hard work. Like
Yeah,
you
for
said,
sure.
with your dad. So some people don't have the benefit of ever seeing anybody work hard, and you just sit and you wish or you hope for things. But that's very important. I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. Seeing
Yeah.
that shit happen, seeing it play out.
and it's always important for me to give that credit. I got a son on the way, so I'd hate to. Well, my favorite is some.
Yeah,
like, bro, I've been in
somebody
front of you.
right, like you seen me.
Come on, man.
I had a house over your head for 30 years, bro. What are you talking
so,
about?
So I always want to give both of them those flowers. But you know, for bigger names, I've always Dame Dash always made sense to me, dog.
Word.
Even when I wasn't like 15-year-old,
Facts.
Dame Dash made sense to me.
Facts.
Yeah.
When I tell this story on the podcast all the time. When I saw backstage and Dame Dash going in there and yelling on the dudes about the jacket, I knew what business I wanted to be. I was like, I want to be dude right there. Whatever he do, I'm not as full understanding of what he do yet, but I want to do that.
Man, the joke Los make all the time is if we see somebody with Live Nation jackets, I'm gonna be going. That's a joke. But no, like Dame, bro. And then I'm from New Orleans, so seeing how P moved, you know, in New Orleans, and then seeing even Currency, like the whole Jet Life team, man. I just
is a good one.
I love how they move, dog. Like business that stands for something is what's important to me.
Big facts.
We could have been made way more money just getting over on people.
Yeah,
you know. But you know, I don't know how people sleep at night like that.
No, that's real.
Or don't be looking over their shoulder with security.
Come back.
Yeah,
I promise you it is.
Speaking of P, man, you talking to two huge No Limit fans, obviously, who grew up in the South.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
The lack of fathers, that's what raised us, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah, it was all Master P music. I look at him like he a real uncle.
Oh man, but P was dog. Like, I just go home to New Orleans every summer after I moved to Nashville and just bro.
Have you met P?
I personally haven't. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list though.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Huge P fan.
Yeah.
But I want to talk what's next for 85 South, 85 Media, 85 Apparel.
Wait,
whole
you
nine.
gonna ask me about P first?
Oh my bad. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
we go back and forth. We say we're gonna wig in and out about business.
You
and
good,
this
bro?
fun stuff.
I'm down for that.
So what do you think, being from New Orleans and the product stuff, like him? We had a whole debate because that's what we do on here.
Okay.
Him putting the face on the rice and the
love
noodles,
it.
we didn't like it.
I love it.
We
At
thought
first.
we
At
thought
first.
that you would say that too.
I love it.
We thought that you would say that.
It's not even a business thing. It's understanding that there are industries that have been owned and dominated for years. If P can get 1% of it, that opens the door for more people that may have, we'll say, better product and packaging.
Facts.
Somebody's got to do it though.
Pitch. The only pull for me was I love it. I just want him to stick in a lane and perfect that because I know how good P can be if he like focuses on one thing. But if I see him doing rice and chips and Miyagi shoes and making movies,
I think
not
that
to
is
say
his
he
lane,
can't
though.
do.
You got to understand his lane.
Okay.
He's not the best rapper.
No,
He just knew how to get them records out.
Right.
And make sure y'all knew to
When
go
they was
buy this
coming.
record.
Yeah.
He put out
Marketing.
20 records in one
Once
in
every
1
2
year.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had you wanting to buy every single. Bro, my cousin would drive to Sam Goody.
Yep.
And we would go, we picking up No Limit and Cash Money records as soon as he got some bread. $18 records, bro.
Yeah,
that he
every
getting
time.
16, 15 of them dollars off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his lane.
His lane is product.
His lane is product and promotion.
Yeah. Nah, that's fair.
That's a
Yeah.
good.
And it just hurt, man. I was like, hey, man, P got the chef hat on.
Yeah,
I was
nah,
like, hey,
The shoes hurt
but
the
you-
most.
but you gotta think-
'Cause I love shoes, man.
Well,
the shoes
they
hurt
getting
the
better,
most,
but you gotta think. You gotta think. Okay.
they
this-
getting better was nasty.
But you remember P's first?
Them Converse joints?
No, his first albums, his first records.
Oh, yeah, they weren't
99
dead.
what? Yeah.
He gotta.
That's true.
That's a lot of rebranding and
That's
marketing.
true.
I gotta get far away from the ice cream man.
That's
That's
true.
true.
That's fair.
That is true.
I gotta get far away from Ghetto D.
Yeah, it's a lot of flops you got to come into to turn into the 50-year-old mogul P to selling
Yeah.
food.
Pass me the green. I want some weed with my Hennessy.
Hennessy,
He gotta get far away from that, bro.
Pull a kick dough, like all that shit. he
Come
gotta
on,
get
that's one
away
of my
from.
favorite. He gotta get far away from that, bro. So that's part of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
It is
that's
what
the
it
other
is.
side. And it's not to say that he's losing himself. And he's older too with kids.
True.
Like,
Yeah,
I
he
don't
grown
wanna
as
be-
hell, man.
Yeah, shout out to TSU, man. His son going to TSU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
Can't wait to go to
I
a
love
game.
that too. I love what Deion Sanders and I love that's. I have a theory that yes, historically we are so far behind, and it was manufactured to be that way. It's not like we just woke up and decided to be behind. Right?
Yeah.
But I still think that there's industries that with 2 or 3 generations of real intentionality,
we could take over.
I personally believe we can take over.
I agree with that 100%. I think people are going to start to realize that. One is with P and the sports industry. Like, when they had when the NBA didn't play because of the Breonna Taylor thing,
Yep.
I thought that there was a real strong opportunity for people like LeBron James and Kevin
Yeah.
Durant. Like, I got a big enough image. I don't have to play for y'all.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not going to make the money that I would make in the NBA, but I'm still going to get, like you said, enough eyes over here to do something different if you're going to try to make me do something I want to do.
Yeah, you're not. I don't think you're wrong.
Okay.
It's
2 or 3 generations.
It's a heavy crown to wear. That's all I say. Everybody
And that's
can't
why-
be Muhammad Ali.
Exactly, and that's why I
And
understand.
I don't
if you
put that
wanna fight it.
expectation
You can't.
on a Jackie Robinson or Muhammad, because everything that you saw them do in the ring, they were doing 10 times outside the ring or outside the diamond. A lot of people don't even know that Jackie was invested in black banks.
Yeah, he was really big on Black Wall Street.
He was huge.
He gave him a lot of money to get that stuff.
He funded a lot of the civil rights.
I ain't know that. I ain't know that my damn self.
Yeah.
Man, moving forward, I know y'all got big plans, commercial realty. Y'all got the space on deck.
Yep.
What's the thought process in getting the space, man? Like, you just tired of renting shit out?
It's a few things, bro. You would run it. Yeah, that's like the easiest one.
Yeah.
We got a studio we rent out and 2 offices at this point.
Got you.
And you just like, look, man,
You might as well.
this is just buy a building. And then the freedom. Like, I'm a big believer in you're not free until you're free. And then you don't own it until you own it.
Got you.
So yeah, we can get into these studios at whatever time we want to, and we have leeway that probably the average person don't have. But I want to cut on my own lights.
Yes.
And I want
to.
to have my own people come in and my own security, and that's number one. And then number two, it's just the evolution of us, man. We've never not we've even if people receive us a certain way, we've never not said we're a media company. Even though we were this one thing, like we had to get to the other side. We had to take off on this first. Man, we got car shows we working on with Los.
Nice.
We put out independent film already, quietly. We're working on an animated cartoon. We're working on a full-on network.
Word.
So this it makes sense to have your own network and to have your own space to create out of.
Yeah.
So
put out more product.
that's the
product place.
Yeah, bro. I everything y'all saying about ESPN. I just read Ted Turner's book. I forgot what it's called. It might be called Call Me Ted.
Okay.
But if you just understand the full power of media, then this is just the next step into it.
Yeah. So what? We'll ask you before we get out of here. Do you have the big picture goal?
Yeah. Well, the big picture goal it changes.
Yeah.
Because what it was 5 years ago, we've already
you surpassed.
There you go.
That's good.
Yeah. So the big picture goal for me, I wish I could say it was deep, but we would just want a full on network.
Yeah.
Yeah. That for the company.
Sure.
I have my own personal big picture goals, but that's for just a full on network that runs itself.
Nice.
Outside of the talent, I would say too.
Okay.
Now, the 85 South Show is a different podcast. It ain't like people sitting around. We talked about this beforehand. Just niggas sitting around talking, or even ain't like this. Was there a point in time that you were like considering doing something different with that show? Did you not think it was going to relate a podcast form?
Yeah. You know what's funny is I wanted it to be like Rap Radar.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I wanted because that's me though. I'm like the nerd for that stuff.
Me too.
And Los and Flowers like right doing that.
But Los are like they variety show type
Improv.
dudes. Like they gone.
Yeah,
like
well,
DC, once DC get to going, it's over.
It evolved. So there's the actual, and for the sake of where we were, we had to say podcast for like a year or two because it's disarming, especially 7 years ago, 6 years ago. Oh, you got a little podcast.
Yeah, imagine 400 episodes. Yeah, we know nothing about that.
You got a little podcast. Okay, cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
whatever.
radio show. Oh, that's cool.
And then you look up, it's like, oh, and it's too late.
Yeah.
So even there's the podcast format version of the show.
Got you.
The studio version is what we'll call it. And then there's the live show, which is what we always imagined it to be. Because at one point we wanted the live show to become like a nighttime show. But the stuff that was in front of us just didn't make us comfortable, wasn't making sense. But
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode?
Nobody's ever asked me that.
That's what I do, man. 400 episodes in, baby.
Bruh, my favorite episode, dog. I'm gonna say, like studio episode.
Mm-hmm. Even if it was one you just put together, and the one that you are most favorite that you put together, anything that you
I
would.
couldn't even.
You know.
That was a Valentine's Day joint. That was hilarious.
We did a Valentine's show.
It was with old
The
girl
one with
from
Duval was funny.
That was funny
Duval.
too.
Bro, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. I don't even remember half. I would say I'm gonna say T-Pain just because I can remember it,
For sure.
but I don't know. That's a really good question. I'd have to go back, but I don't even have the time to really watch it like I used to. But
I get that reaction though, because people ask us like, "What's your favorite?"
yeah, I think it's. I'm gonna say T-Pain, but now you're gonna make me go look back. So I'm gonna
what
text
it
you
is.
like, nah, bro. Actually,
We gonna the next time you on.
yeah.
Next
Oh
time
no,
we talk.
I do remember. It's a show. It's not actually a studio show though.
Okay.
The first time we did Atlanta show was at the small venue called Smith's Old Bar.
Okay.
I don't even know if they still have the venue anymore. And it was Fly Los. The first time we worked with a band, Fly Los and Chico, and Bone Crusher was there.
Word.
And the band got into Never Scared, and then Bone Crusher like did a verse.
Word.
Over the band. That's dope.
But it was only
That's
like
fire.
200 people in there. But dog, it was,
Those are the ones, though.
that was
Those
that
are the
like
ones, yeah.
that's when it was like, yo, this could be anything we want it to be.
Nice.
Word.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite.
Fire.
Man, that's dope, man. Hey, we appreciate you pulling up.
Yeah.
Where can people follow what's going on with Chad? What's going on with 85 South, bro?
Just Google 85 South, man. And usually that comes up. Yeah, you ain't got to follow me. It ain't that big.
We could have talked about this all day, man. We definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, nah, it ain't no
stopping
problem,
through,
man. I appreciate y'all having me. And I'll tell y'all, too, man, continue to do this. I'm sure people say this all the time. And I'm not saying it just to blow smoke. Media that's owned and operated by us is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just think about messaging and getting messages out, that stuff is important, bro.
Yeah.
And it comes with accountability and responsibility. And the fact that y'all are doing it, to the highest level that y'all can, it says everything.
We appreciate that.
That needs to be said about y'all, bro.
That's another promo clip.
For sure.
Yeah, we clipping that.
No, that's cool. Y'all's cool, man.
Get it, so
But
you're going to see them all
doing it
over
for
our
real.
Instagram. That clip right there.
Keep doing it for real, dog.
We appreciate it.
We
Yeah.
appreciate that, man. Hey, guys, again, 85 South, just Google it, man. They got the team working on the analytics. So everything going to pull up, they need to pull up.
Yeah.
Don't go nowhere. We'll be back with some wins and some losses, man.
Yeah.
We out. Hey, man, we are back. It's the OndeckTV show. It's your man, Animal Brown.
Woo! I am Spike Lou. That one.
Yeah, that was fire, bro.
Was good.
That was fire. A lot of takeaways, man. Anything that stuck out to you, man, before we get to these wins and losses?
Absolutely. Wins and losses in just a second. For you guys that have been here and a part of the show and you're tracking and following and think it's a little bit different when we have a guest, that's absolutely true. First thing we want to do in the beginning we want to shorten up the quick hits. Second thing we want to do is reflect on the interview more. Let you know why we had these people on the show, what they mean to the OndeckTV podcast. This one, of course, we're in the same industry as them.
Yeah.
So we see the 85 South show from the OndeckTV podcast perspective as that's part of the things that we want to hit ascending to our larger goal of the Real Deal Media Network. So that's why he was sitting here. That's why he was talking to you. That's why we asked the questions that we asked. And if we're talking about takeaways, one of the most important things for me that ties into that is when he said he met Steve Harvey. And he was like, well, and I asked him about the pitch, and he was like, well, I had to, every day going home, this nigga didn't know my name for a year and a half.
Yep.
But when he did know my name and asked me what I'd done, I was ready.
Yep.
Because every day I was preparing for and living for what I did or what I do. That was the biggest thing for me. Like somebody come ask us, hey man, what do you guys do? And I tell them, hey, I do a podcast, and be able to give them a pitch. And there are 400 episodes on YouTube that a person can go check out.
Yep.
So that was big for me as far as a takeaway. What stuck out to you?
I like the milestone, man, being clear on the goal. What is it, 10,000 listeners, 20,000 listeners? Like, what's the goal, and then what's the move when you get to the other side of that?
Facts.
Like, don't just wing it and be like, I check the numbers every once in a while. And check. No, like, stay on top of it every day. Work diligently toward that specific goal. And then once you get there, have the plan on deck of what you're going to do once you hit it.
Yep.
Like, that's, to me, that stuck out, man, because a lot of people, and us included, sometimes we get lost in that. You know what I'm saying? So that's...
It's like, is this what we doing, or
That's
is this
real.
what we doing?
That's it.
That's a shirt. Is this what we doing? Question mark.
Hey, man, let's get to these wins and losses, man. I'll kick it off, man. Shout out, that's a W to Lil Wayne, all right? He just hit 1 billion streams on Spotify for that Carter 3 album. A lot of people call that the best Carter.
That's not, but you can call it that. Carter 2 is my personal favorite, and I'm going to call it the best. Shout out to 1 billion, man. I had this conversation with my girl over the weekend, and I'm starting to believe this more and more. Lil Wayne is the best rapper ever.
Relax, bro.
I mean, it's not even – the generations that he impacted,
Relax.
No one has ever done that. No one has ever influenced as many people as Wayne. Lil Wayne is the best rapper ever. Where's my camera? Is this the camera? Is this it? Lil Wayne, Dwayne Carter is the best rapper ever.
Ain't no way in hell. And I fuck with Wayne the strong way, but no, that ain't it.
That's it, I'm telling you, man.
We have another W to
Come at me,
Tupac
bro.
fans, specifically Tupac fans with a satellite radio subscription. There's a new channel, Channel 104, Sirius Satellite Radio, all Tupac, all the time. Can Wayne have his own channel, Mr. Greatest Rapper of all time?
An awesome segue would have been, speaking of the best rappers of all time, or rapper.
I think my segue was on point.
But nah, this is it. Like,
It's tough.
who else would have, like, if you're going to do first, I think Eminem. Do Eminem got one of these?
No, he owns a network, but it's not his music,
Okay,
though.
yeah, this fire. Like, if anybody, Tupac got a versatile enough catalog for this to happen. So
that's features too. So that's features. That's all anything that he's on.
How many hours do you listen to this before you out of there?
Before you hear toss it up 3-4 times.
The 7th time I done heard toss it up today. Cut this on, bro.
That ain't nothing. We do have one L to your man, the baby. After basically burning his bridge with Megan Thee Stallion, he hops on Twitter and asks the question, hey, how can I get a whole verse? In which the Twitter world responded, you could have got one from Meg Thee Stallion, and of course you got to attach the picture with Meg and Jay together to bring it on home.
Not to do a full quick hit on this, but isn't this the not reading the room? Isn't this the reason that he was in the whole beef with Meg? Like, the baby is one of the worst people in the game in reading the room, bro. You're never getting the whole verse. Yeah, especially if it wasn't because you don't change your style and have beats that Hov would rap on. If it wasn't that, then it's definitely because of what just happened with you and Meg. So I can answer your question and say no one, never. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
For context, Meg is managed by Rock Nation. Of course, we know Hov is over at Rock Nation. So you are 1 degree away.
Let me disrespect the biggest artist that you manage, and then let me turn around and ask your boss for a feature. Yeah, let's do that.
It's a wrap, man. And that's my guy. He blowing it right now. I'm slick hot there.
Rough patch for him, man.
Hey, man, before we get out of here, you know how we get down. On Decker of the Week. Got to give a special shout out to our guy, Kendall. Hey, man, he holding us down. He threw the oop to get Chad in this building to begin with. He wanted to see the show. He wanted to make it happen. We made it happen, man. So good looking, Kendall. We appreciate that. Big day one.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to Big Kendall, man. If you watch FSP, him and How Weezy are brothers. That's why they look alike. But, man, shout out to Big Kendall, man. We really appreciate people that take this show seriously, take it like we do, even just as fans. Yeah. And they're there for it every week, clicking on the link, downloading the episodes, making suggestions, writing in. We appreciate those people. Don't stop doing it. And as we continue to grow and make this thing what we want it to be, we won't forget about you guys either. We appreciate it.
100%, man. I have a put on for this week. It's actually a put off. I'm flipping the script. Fast 9.
Yeah.
Mid.
Wait, you went to AMC at midnight on Thursday and got a mid movie?
I didn't go at midnight.
Yeah, you definitely
I caught the 8 p.m. showing. Thank you.
Oh.
But
even worse.
I follow Fast and the Furious as a franchise. This was some mid. It's time to hang it up. I have sources that have told me there are 2 more.
No
unfortunately. Way. Yeah, they're gonna do a part 2. They're gonna do it just like Avengers, how they split up.
Yeah.
They're gonna split up 10. So they're doing a part 1 for Fast and the Furious 10 and doing a part 2.
I tell you, ain't nobody checking.
Nah, they're going to do numbers.
Yeah, that is true. That shit probably going to be the #1 movie in the nation. That's nuts.
Do you have a put on or a put off for me today?
Put on, man. I just started Black Monday on Showtime.
That's a good show.
Cheadle.
That's a good show.
Pretty funny, man. Pretty funny, man. I'm going to see where it takes me, but I like Black Monday, man. That's really good.
I put you on there years ago, but we're going to act like I didn't.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it at all.
That's some bullshit. Hey, man, guys, we appreciate you guys checking out the show. You already know how we get down. YouTube.com/OndeckTV. Make sure you subscribe, and YouTube.com/RealVille. Make sure you subscribe to the team. Shout out to everybody. FSP, Fresher Than Your Average, the whole 9.
Absolutely, man. Jump in them comment sections, man. Give us some interactions on the social feeds, man. We'll follow back and get with you too. It's the On Deck TV podcast show. We're out.